Well, Chuck, it looks like Steve Furness in Dwight White's place. Now, if Steve Furness does not get going well in the early stages of the ball game at defensive end, is there a possibility that you would move him to Joe Green's position at tackle? Steve himself says he's better suited to play tackle than end, and move Joe over to defensive end. Joe's a fast guy. Does that possibility exist?
The possibility exists, but the probability is very short, Myron. I really don't think we'll have to be or forced to make that kind of a decision. I think that Steve has every capability of doing a good job for us. He's taken advantage of every opportunity he's had, and I think we're looking for him to have a good game.
Why does he think he's better suited to play tackle? Does he lack the speed to play end?
Well, I think he's worked more on the techniques that go with tackle. He delivers the shoulder blow and the head blow, the internal type reactions he's a little better suited to.
And if the remote possibility, if the remote chance developed, where you did have to make that switch, it would be a shame because moving Joe down to the other side of the line would take him away from the area that Tarkenton likes to roll to.
That's right.
And I suppose also you're loath to make more than one position change in the line, too. That could cause a lot of chaos, could it not, the more changes you make up there?
If you put more people out of position, we would rather, if someone has to be out of position because of an injury, we'd rather just one guy rather than moving about 3 or 4 guys.
Now, Steve Furness's last big chance was when he filled in for Fats Holmes right here in New Orleans in November. He had a sensational night. He had 8 unassisted tackles, if I recall correctly, 2 quarterback sacks. Does something like that, having done it here in this town, does that strengthen his psyche for today's game?
Oh, I'm sure it'll prepare him very well. Plus the fact that he's playing in the game, the professional football game, and I think everyone's going to be keyed up and ready to go.
Well, Steve Furness may turn out to be no problem at all, but on the contrary, a big asset.
You know, the saddest part of the whole thing, Myron, is the fact that Dwight White, who has worked so hard and has really been chomping at the bit to play in the Super Bowl, may not get the opportunity to do that. I think that's probably the saddest part of the whole thing.
It is indeed. He really was looking forward to this ball game like nobody I've seen. The Chuck Noll Show continues in a minute.
On a third down and long yardage situation, the quarterback usually will call for a forward pass when the financial coaches at Heritage Federal are asked to come up with a long...
Chuck, there has been a lot of hoopla this week, a lot of pizzazz. Of course, it's all behind you now, but did the excitement of Super Bowl week in New Orleans create any hitches in your plans, your arrangements?
No, I think everything went pretty smoothly, Myron. The time that we spent with the press was minimized, I think, and I know our football players enjoyed it very much. So I think that everything went along pretty well.
Do you look for this game to be a game almost free of gadgets? Do you look for the two teams, both of them, to be saying, well, we're going to settle this the basic way, see who can outslug the other guy?
Well, I look for 2 outstanding defensive football teams to go after one another. You'd start there because I think that's a true statement on both counts. And an offense that has big weapons, both of them, that could score from any place. So you never know how it's going to go, whether it's going to be high scoring, low scoring, a defensive game, or what. But I think it'll be a fundamentally sound game, which is what you're referring to. But it may well be decided in the kicking aspects of the game. You know, a big punt return, a kickoff return, something like that. When you get into this kind of game, it may well be that.
In your place kicking department, I would think you have the edge, Jarrella, over Cox. It seems to me that as Freddie Cox has gotten into his mid-30s, his kicks have shortened up some, though he has quite a variety of them on kickoffs, but he has gotten shorter, has he not?
His kickoffs are shorter, yes, but he has accuracy in there on the field goals.
So everybody talks defense, but I think that the way your offense has come down the stretch, that it is surely capable of scoring in the 20s. We should be expected to.
We feel very strongly about our offense. We think we're coming on right now, and we're ready to put things together.
A final word from Coach Noll in a minute.
Watching the Steelers march down the field to a touchdown is an exciting and impressive sight. Here are 11 star football players pulling together as one. Your Heritage Federal Savings and Loan Association team has many talented members specializing in arranging savings plans and financial...
Chuck, a lot of people say, sure, the Vikings have some top players on that ball team, but they're getting old. They've gotten old. They're so done. You think that gives your ball club an edge, as many people contend?
Well, I think you have to be a good football team to get into the Super Bowl, Myron, and anybody who's playing a team down that has fought well and gotten into this game, I think maybe is shooting in the dark. I think they've played well this year. They've won their conference, and they're going to be a formidable foe, and we're going to have to be ready. I think they have people like Carl Eller and Jim Marshall who are coming on, seasoned veterans who are playing well. They're probably playing as well as they have in the past few years. Alan Page is having a good year. They have a rookie, Doug Sutherland. Their secondary, I think, is a mixture of Young and Krause, who's back there, plays the ball as well as anybody, is their seasoning aspect of it. Their linebackers have a young one in the middle who is coming on into his own, and some old ones that have been around for a while, but they're playing well. I think you can say the same thing offensively. Fran Tarkington, who, of course, has been around a long time, but I don't think the age is hurting him, and they have some young people there that are running the ball well. I'm referring to number 44, who really streaks out of there and
Chuck
Foreman. And they've got weapons on offense. Jim Lash, who's coming into his own right now, and John Gillum.
Yeah, well, they've got they do have some young ball players there too. They haven't grown as old in some departments as people seem to suppose. Hey, Chuck,
the thing that you have to remember too, they have some young, good ones sitting on the bench, who are just waiting to get in there, who they drafted. They've had 2 good drafts, and so the older ones have to be playing pretty well.
Hey, Chuck, we're running out of time. I just want to say I've enjoyed doing the show with you all season long, and lots of luck today in a big one.
Thank you, Myron.
That's the Chuck Noll Show for today. This is Myron Cope, and the Chuck Noll Show was brought to you on WTAE by Heritage Federal Savings and Loan Association, where a team of financial coaches stands ready to put you across your financial goal line.